So this is a quick video for the operations formulas for AS Business Studies. Remember, A2 need it as well. So it's for AQA, and what you're just going to be looking at is the key ones that you might need to know. So number one, labour productivity. Now, just emphasising that this is for labour. Remember, productivity can link to all different types of inputs, but we're just focusing on labour, and it's measured in units per person or units per employee. So it'd be the output per period, and that could be in units, or it could be the specific product or service, divided by the number of employees. Now, you'd want the labour productivity to be as high as possible because it would show that the business is efficient, maybe it's more cost effective because of how they're utilising their labour force. And how would we compare it? We'd compare it with the industry average. We'd compare it to previous years. How do we improve it? Well, we could improve it via training of labour to try and make them highly skilled. We could do it in terms of motivating labour and making sure that they work to the best of their ability. We could be actually assisting labour with, for example, equipment and machinery that would boost their productivity. We also need to consider productivity itself, so not just labour but just general productivity, and that would be output divided by what the inputs were, okay, the number of inputs. And again, that would just be measured in units. I would say that labour productivity is much more common though. The unit cost is measured in pounds, pounds or pence, and it's the total cost divided by the units of output. So in terms of deciding whether this is effective or not, or this is a good unit cost, again, industry average, again, previous years, but have a look at the different elements of this formula. What's happening to your total cost? What is happening to the units of output? If total costs are rising and units of output stays the same or is falling, then that suggests that the unit cost isn't as effective as it should be, and it's spiralling out of control. The next formula is capacity utilisation, and that's looking at your actual level of output divided by your maximum possible output, again times by 100. Now, there's a lot of debate as to what would be a useful capacity utilisation. Some argue it'd be between 80% and 90%. Some argue that if you get beyond 90%, you're starting to put pressure on your current capacity. It does depend. It depends on how well the business is obviously managing their output. If it starts getting towards 100%, for example, then they cannot at this moment in time produce anymore. So they have to look at external factors, especially in the short term. So it might mean that they have to outsource. It might mean that they have to, contract the work out to other firms, and maybe think about expansion. But that will, obviously, the expansion would take time to carry out. If they're underutilising, then they're not actually making the most of their capacity. So if you think about a restaurant, maybe in a restaurant they've got, let's say, 50 potential customers that they can fill. But if they're not utilising that, and let's say they're only doing 25, then again, think about the staff that they've got on in that restaurant. Some of the staff members will not really be doing that much. It'll be inefficient. It'll be an inefficient cost of that staff. Or maybe they've bought loads of raw materials, like ingredients for the food. Again, if they're not really filling up the capacity, they might have bought enough for the capacity, therefore it could be wasted, especially if we think about the type of good or the type of raw materials that would go into a meal. Okay, it's perishable, it probably expire, probably go out of date, so it could lead to waste. So think about it from that point of view. Are they underutilisation, or are they starting to put pressure on their capacity? Another one I've just thrown in, it's not really a key formula that maybe some like Tutor to You or AQA would really go on about, but I think it's worth remembering just lead time, just in terms of just your delivery day minus your day of order. It's one that sometimes is forgotten about, it's one that students sometimes forget to revise, but it's part of the inventory control graph. So just have a look at what's happening to lead time.